Welcome back to the next part of our presentation. So, what levels look like across the grade levels, what we're going to explore. And as we go through, we're going to see that although texts become more complex across grade levels, the levels of thinking themselves remain consistent. What changes is how students demonstrate that thinking and the level of independence we expect. In the early grades, text based thinking often involves identifying details or retelling events. Inferential thinking may include explaining how a character feels or why something happened. Critical thinking at this level might involve sharing an opinion and supporting it with one clear piece of evidence. So, here are some examples we can look at. So, text based questions might say, what did the character lose? Where does the story take place? Inferential thinking would ask, why do you think the character felt upset? What can you infer about characters from their actions? And then the critical thinking, was the character's choice a good one? Why? What lesson did the character learn? As you can see, the progression, the text based questions ask recall, the inferential kind of thinking questions ask for background knowledge, but then also evidence from the text to support that, to draw logical conclusions or make an inference of some sort. Critical thinking questions require a character to make more of a judgment about the particular characters in the text and possibly also looking at the lessons too learned and making a judgment about the lesson learned. While in middle school and high school, text based questions often require students to synthesize information across paragraphs or sections of the text. Inferential thinking focuses on motivation, relationships, or themes, while critical thinking may involve evaluating, decision making, analyzing arguments, or comparing perspectives. So let's look at some examples of those. So, in text based questions in middle and high school, you might say, according to the text, what claim does the author make in paragraph 3? Again, here, having students look at a particular part of the text, or it could also be paragraph 3 and paragraph 5. What evidence does the author use to support this argument? Some inferential kind of questions. What can you infer about the author's perspective based on word choice? How do the characters' actions reveal their internal conflict? As you can see here, you're asking the student to draw upon prior knowledge too, as well, with information from the text. And then we have critical thinking. How effective is the author's argument using evidence from the text? Was the character's decision justified given the circumstances? Again, the student has to draw upon personal experiences, but then also look at and draw upon a judgment or a logical conclusion based on what has happened to as well in order to justify a particular opinion they take on the text. All right. And finally, supporting diverse learners. It's especially important to distinguish between language demands and thinking demands for multilingual learners and neurodivergent learners. A student may understand the thinking requires, but struggle to express it without appropriate scaffolds. Tools like sentence frames, visual supports, and modeling allow students to access higher levels of thinking without lowering expectations.